You're Rana, and welcome to FM Tahiti. Hope you're well. We're going to go through the end of Season 3 review. So it's our second season in the Premiership, our third season in the game world, kind of overall. And it's been pretty good. It was a bad start, but overall it's actually been pretty good. So if we look at the schedule, so I'll go through our competitions, then the other competitions, and then I'll look at the stuff like internationally, finances, that kind of stuff. But yeah, if we look at our actual form, August to the end of October was terrible. This is where we dropped so many points. But then after that, we did really well. So in the end, we only had 2 more league losses from November onwards, and then 1 loss in the Shield of Pride final. So actually, we did pretty well in that sense. And looking at the league, finished 6th. It is lower than we finished before. I think it was 5th or 4th we finished before. Don't know why I'm guessing. I can just go and look, can't I? So yeah, we finished 5th with 47 last season, and this season it was 6th with 44. And you can kind of see the form. So this is kind of the opposite of what we had last season. So last season we had this. We were up here, up around here for the first half, and then we dropped gradually. Whereas this time we were flirting here with the relegation playoffs, and then we managed to get back up. We were never better than 6th. Throughout the season, 6th was our kind of limit, so kind of fair to finish there in the end. The team itself has done pretty well. So Semi-Gerard got given Player of the Year again and Young Player of the Year again. So he finished with 24 goals in the end in all competitions, and Yanin with 19, Chisholm with 10, and Wallace with 7. So they were our main kind of goal scorers. They all did pretty well. Yanin, I thought, might have a good kind of shout for getting Young Player or signing of the. He did get signing of the season for us, but not kind of across the competition. But none of my players won Player of the Season or Rookie of the Season this time round. We weren't even in the top 3 for any of it. Likewise, Manager of the Year, I wasn't in the top 3 for that. In terms of other players, obviously Manuel, Naradona, shoot the things there. Naradona, Richards, Spearling all played particularly well. Douglas has chipped in a little bit. Waite, as always, has been good. Weaver is this kind of stalwart in the centre, although I think I might have found a replacement for him that I might try and go in for. Macasina did okay. Came in and played a few, so he had 17 starts. Bolt's done well. Chance done well as well, even though their attributes don't look fantastic. Smith's been a pretty good keeper, although not amazing. So he's not actually had that many clean sheets in the end of it. So 9 clean sheets, and 54 kind of conceded overall. So he's not been amazing, but I think part of that was the tactical issues at the start. It's actually much better as we went on. Some of these players are going to have to go, I think. So I think Salaberry has done his part. Going to let a youth player come through. Gory or McGlory, I can't remember. McCloy, that's his name. He was alright back here. I put into the under-23s, so I'll probably let him go and bring Twig through instead. We've got someone else who can compete potentially with Weaver that I'm going to try and bring in. If that's the case, then I imagine Higgins or Thomas are going to have to go, one of the two. And kind of further into the kind of depth chart, players like Darren Lee, who's never really broken in, he's going to have to go. Because the under-23s are pretty full. And there are some good ones. There are also some ones who just aren't going to get time. So I'm going to do a cull and get rid of a few. So things like people like Sam Kennelly. Not particularly highly rated. He's not done particularly well for us. He's never really been given much of an opportunity. Had a couple of starts. I mean, he did do well in those starts, to be fair, but I'm going to have to let some of them go, and hopefully they'll find places to go and work in the rest of the league. So I imagine some of these will be picked up. So yes, that's how we're doing kind of team-wise. I might as well show you the finances now. They're bad. So 382,000 were in. It was a little bit more earlier on, but we had a recent sponsorship deal come through, so we're making about 60 grand a year in sponsorship now instead of like 20. So it's going to make a difference. We had that kind of money come in just there, which is why instead of like 450,000 in debt, it's only 380 in debt. And even though this is predicted to get worse and worse every season, our wage budget's going up and up in terms of what we're allowed. And also in terms of what we're spending. I need to try and bring this down if I can. And we've got the bigger stadium. We got some good attendances in the 2 games we had, so 550 and 700 in those last 2 games, and the only 2 games we've had at home. So we might have a bit of an uptick in finances eventually if we start getting people in and we're playing well enough to keep them interested. But it's I don't think we're going to be clearing this debt anytime soon. We need some OCL success for that. In terms of the club, our facilities, like I said, we've got that 1,294 all-seater, so we're the second biggest stadium. No major changes, or no changes at all to any of these other things. We've not got the money. They won't even pay for me to get a coaching badge, so they're not going to pay for any of this. I have asked every now and again, and they just tell me there's no money. They agree, but there's no money. Looking generally, Semi-Gerard is an icon for us, which is fair, because if you consider his record, in league goals he's got 37 in 67 appearances, so 29 of them for us. When you actually look at his overall, he got 33 last season, and he got 24 this season, so he's doing good. Narendona is also favoured. He's not played as much this season as he has done. I say that, but apparently he has played more this season than he has in the past. And then we've made it as well. Now we're favoured personnel too. Not much change in our attributes because we've not been able to study for any more badges because we just can't pay for it. Apparently not many people have a bad opinion of us, which is nice, I guess. So the club's doing okay. Financially, not great, but we've got a good stadium. The attendances might get good. I'm fairly happy with the general core of the team, so I might try and snap up a few young players to kind of sort of bring in. Might try and shore up the defence and the centre of midfield, but otherwise I'm pretty happy with things. I had my kind of team meeting as well, so what do I plan to do next season? I told them top half finish, and everyone was happy with that. And that's basically what the board said they're going to want as well, so top half finish. So I think we can do that. I just want to be able to see if we can sneak in to the top 2 with time for the OCL. So the league itself then, Huahine won. So the 3rd title has gone to another team. So we have 3 different title winners in as many seasons. Moorea, Bora Bora, and now Huahine. So Huahine won the OCL last season. I managed to just pit Bora Bora to it. So only a point in it in the end, but actually they won it a game before Bora Bora just because of the gap and the schedule. Moorea making up the top 3, Papite and Taha, also traditionally quite strong teams, so Taha quite strong cup team. Skybrights, who are normally quite strong, have fallen off a little bit. Maupti and Uapoa, the 2 promoted teams, managed to gain safety. And then Tetaroa relegated straight down to the championship, and I am smiling as I say that. And Mopiha fell into the relegation zone, which was really unfortunate because it wasn't until the last game of the season they actually ended up in that playoff spot. And they lost to the Rapper Feral Cats in the playoff. So looking at the championship, AS Chance stormed the league, 10 points clear, got the title, got automatic promotion. That was 3 promotions in a row. Silver to gold, gold to championship, and now championship to the premiership. So they're a team to watch out for. They're really strong because they've got that really good academy and really good facilities. They've got some really good youth kind of players. Don't know why it's on that for you. So they've got a few good players. They tend to have their players poached quite often, but look at this 15-year-old target man that they've got. I'm scouting him currently. I'm not entirely sure why, because if I bring him in, then I'm going to have to lose one of my strikes. It's probably be Wallace, and Wallace is an Austral Islands player, so I don't really want to do that. But he's really good. So they've done well. Feral Cats were in the Premiership in the opening season, then got relegated, and now they've fought their way back up. And then it kind of drops off. There was no real close competition. It was mainly between these two. At the bottom end, no relegation, because Tahiti managed to win their playoff against the team below. So if you go to the relegation playoff, they beat Noraruta on penalties. It's unfortunate for Noraruta there. If we go down to the Gold Developmental League, so the Eels under-23s won the title, but obviously because they're the under-23s, they can't get promoted beyond this league, so that's why Noraruta were in that playoff place. So it's not a case that if the under-23s win, the team above in the championship is automatically safe from relegation. A playoff still happens, it's just with the next highest team. But it was close, so Tabai and Noraruta are all 1 point away from there, so in fact it came down to goal difference and results. That's why Tubai weren't playing in that. Hiva under-23s relegated. Bahanga Vines got promoted, are doing okay there. And then there's no senior teams left in the silver. It's kind of sorted itself out. So Bora Bora under-23s are getting promoted there. They won that one. If we go through the cups, so we already know that we won the Inter-Island Cup, beating Bora Bora on penalties. So we were 2-0 up and they clawed it back and we had to rely on penalties, but we won. So our first, it wasn't our first actually, because we had to play the Mutiny Trophy before this, but the first time we won the Inter-Island Cup, and by winning that we've booked our place in the Super Cup at the start of next season, so there's an opportunity for a little bit more silverware. The Super Cup this time around was won by Taha, so Taha have got a lot of cups. They've won the Inter-Island Cup twice, the Super Cup once, and been the runner-up once. I think, yeah, that's it really for that, but they've got some cups. Thought they had more than that actually, but they've done well there. The next Super Cup will obviously be between us and the Eels, so that should be interesting. Windward Isle was won by Moria again, so they've won it the past 3 years in a row. They're dominating the Windward Isle Trophy. They're the strongest Windward Isle team, reasonably easily, as well as no one else is really touching them. Maybe Pepite eventually. Looking at the leeward, Huahine, the Eels won this one. So Tetero had run it twice in a row before, and then got knocked out final stage by the Eels to stop them from winning it 3 times in a row. So bad season all round for the Reefers really, which is fantastic. Mutiny of Pride we won, beating Union Rimatara 3-2. We scraped through into the final, but then corrected from last year. So there's been 3 different winners for this. So the Mutineer Pride Trophy's been much more open than a lot of the other cups. It's a bit more diverse in the way of winners and finalists. Unlike the Marquesas Pride, where it's Uapoa for the 3rd time running, beating Tahiti from the Nature Reserve Island. So they've won 3 in a row. They're the best Marquesan side now. They're doing really well with that. Shield of Pride, which we talked about in the last episode, we lost in the final to the Huahine Eels. It's our regional cup, Cup Winners' Cup essentially. So Uapoa, Moria, the Eels and us, and we lost in the final. But again, 3 different winners, Tetero, Moria and Huahine. So you can see some of the dominant sides, especially Moria, Huahine and Bora Bora being quite dominant. And then the Youth Cup went to Uapoa under-23s as well. So their under-23s are doing pretty well. So that's where we are in kind of domestic competitions. If we look at the international ones, here's my sneaky shortcut. If we look at the schedule and look at the Atoll Cup Championship, Austral Islands won it this year. So Tahiti, then Marquesas, and then the Austral Islands have won it. So this is being shared out. This one's quite competitive. So this gets played at the start of every season. So we've got the new one coming up quite soon. If we go back to the schedule as well, in the World Cup qualifying section, look at all groups here. So Bass Islands squeaked qualification to the qualifying final in this group, edging out Austral Islands. Marquesas weren't particularly close. Then Group B, this is a key one. Tahiti beat New Zealand in the group stage. Drew with them on points, but have got a better goal difference, they've got a better results against. So Tahiti and the Bass Islands will be playing in the final. So this gets played, I think, in September. So this is big. This is really good. This is good progress, essentially. So Tahiti or the Bass Islands are going to win this final, which means they'll go into the next playoff, which will be against, I think, a team either from Asia or South America. I think it's usually South America because I think, as I've mentioned very early in the series, Oceania only get half a playoff or half a World Cup space because it's not guaranteed they get the opportunity to go into the playoff and go through it. But basically, for one of these teams, there's one more game after this where they could book themselves a place in the World Cup proper. I don't think they will do, and I imagine what's going to happen is Tahiti are going to win this, and then they're going to get battered by a much bigger side. But it is progress. It means New Zealand have lost out, and this will potentially have a big impact on the rankings as well when it comes through. And also kind of in other news, we also had the Under-20 World Cup. So in the Under-20 World Cup, if we look at all the groups, Tahiti in Group B managed to qualify for the second round of the Under-20s. So they beat Ghana, drew with Japan, lost, I think, either 2-1 or 3-1 against England. So they qualified in the second round where they played Honduras, and they drew 2-2 and then lost on penalties. So they did quite well. But then if we go further along, Austral Islands were also in the Under-20s. So the Austral Islands qualified for the Under-20 World Cup, but got spanked 5-0 by Brazil, which actually is a pretty respectable score. And I think they lost 1-0 each to Morocco and Australia. But they got in there. So there's some changes going on there. See if I can get to the rankings internationally. So there have been a few kind of changes. Austral Islands have gone down, as have Gambier. The Bass Islands have gone up 3, Tuamotun has gone up 2, Marquesas have gone up 3, Tahiti have gone up 2 as well. So New Zealand is still the most reputable and highly ranked team internationally in Oceania, but Tahiti is starting to make some progress. All the teams are generally making progress apart from Austral and the Gambiers, but I think for Austral that's because they lost out to the Bass Islands in the qualifiers, so they could have been much higher. And obviously Tahiti got the opportunity as a Bass to get even further based on these kind of competitive qualifying games. So yeah, that's where we are. What I'm going to do next then is I need to kind of look at my squad, work out what needs to go on. So Salaberry might go. A lot of the youth players are going to be kind of thinned out. I'm going to make some choices about Higgins and Thomas. I'm going to see if I can bring in some of the kind of replacements and competition, because a few of the players I'm looking at quite young but quite good. So because Tahiti Under-20s did so well, I looked at this guy, 16-year-olds play for Bora Bora. I don't really need another striker, but if he's 16, I could get him. He would be alright. He's not being used much in the actual sort of more senior competitions, but he could be good. Timothy Petit, another striker, 15. He's pretty good for Manuel. Could want to try and poach. Joris Pichon, right side midfielder, looks alright. Oscar Dumas on the left could be okay. And Moses again. And then Maxime Gauthier could be interesting. Am I scouting him? Scout him. Thought I was. Fabian Dennis, another striker. So they've got some good players potentially coming in. So I'm going to see what's going on there. There was, can't remember which team it is, but there's a defensive midfielder I'm thinking of seeing if he's interested. I'm going to try and get him in, give Weaver some competition. That'll be the main change if I can make that. But otherwise, I'm quite happy. Tactically, we're going to stick with this bad boy. the hump. So we've got our variations. We've got the whaling on it with the anchor man. We've got the wide target man, which we've used maybe twice, because I don't think this technically works particularly well yet. I think I've designed this quite badly. In my head it looked like it could work, but yeah, in reality it's not good enough to give it a go. But this is what we've got, and this is what's been working for us. Since we tweaked it, went to attacking mentality, got more pressing going on, changed the line of engagement slightly, changed the distribution. This worked quite well. And then with the match engine change right at the end in the last few games of the season, it seems like long ball's even better. So Uapo were playing a really good long ball against us in the game we played against them, and we played pretty well. So Richards is getting a lot of very deep balls in. I imagine Waite would do if he's more on support. So we're going to stick with this. I think this is going to do quite well for us. And because our reputation, I imagine, will go up slightly, teams are going to be sitting back against us more, so attacking still going to work for us. There's nothing else that's changed in the match engine that I think is going to make it more difficult, specifically for us. So there we go. That's the end of season review. All in all, 2 cups, runner-up in the Shield of Pride, slight dip in the league, but because we were never going to get into the OCL, we weren't ever really going to challenge for the title. That's fine. I'll take that if that means we got those cups. Next season, I want to get in the OCL again. I want to win at least one more cup, whatever that cup might be. Ideally the Inter-Island Cup, but any of them will do for me. And yeah, if there's any particular things you'd like to see, let me know and I'll go back and show them to you. But generally it's ticking along. It's not bad for the 3rd season. And you're starting to see some improvements internationally and across the general kind of standards, the stadiums and things like that. And in fact, the one thing I wanted to go and check was stadiums, to see if anyone else has had a bit of a change. So, see here, Maupiti are stadium sharing with Huahine, which means they must be, every time, the colour scheme's so bad. They are going back to the Maupiti Arena, which will be even bigger than ours. So everyone's starting to build slightly bigger stadiums now. So 1,366 will make it one of the biggest stadiums, I think. So that's a big expansion for Maupiti. But actually, Huahine's being expanded as well. So they're currently reduced by 97. Sorry, I'm rambling a bit, but I like the end of season review. So what's going on with Green Islanders and theirs? So again, expansion of 284, which will make them even bigger than Maupiti. So Maupiti thought they were getting the biggest stadium. Now they're sharing Huahine, but Huahine are expanding and getting even higher. I don't know if any of these other ones are being expanded as well. To do it, is it? I imagine Moria, if anyone's going to do it, Moria might have done. Nope, no expand. I say that, but I think I just... Oh no, that's just their sponsorship. It's not a bad sponsorship deal, is it? Montpellier, I don't imagine relegated Tetero will be doing much. Bora Bora are still in their 500-seater. I mean, they're former champions and now runners-up. No, nothing going on there in terms of expansion. There's still time for them to make a decision. Looking at the championship, New Dawn View, Alvarado, Mendana, Porch, and Shellfish, Pitcairn, Connect are all national stadiums. So these are all the original sizes. But Moutons, Puka Puka, Mahisha, Fatahuka, Union Rimatara and San Pedro have all had expansions. In fact, I think Knox Park is equal to, or maybe a seat or two larger. I think it's 2 seats larger than ours. So that Moutons technically have the largest expanded stadium for the moment. Again, quite a few that haven't done anything there. If you go down to the gold, so Tubai have expanded, the Terras have expanded, so the Jupiters, so the Turtangegi Wings, not vast amounts. The Hanger Vines are at 300 because they have the slightly smaller stadium because they're the baby team, the newest of all the teams. So there's some expansion, some changing. And I think the attendances are starting to change as well with that. So in the Premiership, The average attendance for Papeete is about 753. Everyone else's average attendance is below 500, but looking at some of the attendance highs, Huahine managed to get over 1,000 in for one of their matches, which is better than Papeete managed. Just they've not done this on a regular basis. We've managed to get 700, but obviously we've only had 2 games in our new stadium, so I imagine our overall will be much higher. Tetero have managed to get some in, Tupai. So a lot of teams have breached that 500 mark, just not consistently. We have finally had one sellout, and it was us. So there we go. Now I'll end it. Thanks very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you with the new season.